Hello and welcome to beautiful sunny Spain. Here we are at Jerez at the MotoGP circuit. My name is Michael Mann, I'm from Bike Social, and I'm here with Yamaha, who have the new 2020 YZF R1 and R1M. Hello, and we're in pit lane at the 2020 press launch of the R1 and R1M, new from Yamaha. Some of the guys are out on track on the R1M already. And here we have one sitting in pit lane with its tyre warmers on, ready for a bit of action very soon. Now, we've ridden the R1 this morning, so we've done 3 track sessions on the standard road bike, and this is the R1M. Main differences are the carbon bodywork throughout and these new Öhlins Suspension, which are incredibly trick. We've been fitted with Bridgestone slicks on the M. We ran some R11s this morning, so they're the sort of very track focused yet still treaded tyres. And here we have some R1Ms. The R1 has had quite a few changes, despite it looking very, very similar to the outgoing model. Now, this generation was 2015, updated 2018, and here we are 2020, and it's the first bike in Yamaha's range that is Euro 5 compliant, and the laws around the emissions are incredibly strict. So Yamaha have done a whole host of things in the engine, loads and loads of work, to make sure that it complies with Euro 5, but also doesn't lose any power. And the final output in terms of peak power is exactly the same at 200 PS, which is about 197 brake horsepower. Here we go. Jerez. We're on pre-circuit. Get some warmth into these tyres and brakes, run the Bridgestone R11s. For this famous last corner here at Jerez, onto the start finish straight. Get the bike stood up, full gas. Okay, so here we are, the 2020 R1, and we're at Jerez here in southern Spain. That was an indicated 267 kilometers an hour. Let the gears do the braking as well. Alright, let's talk about the bike then, shall we? So, new 2020 R1. So what this R1 is, turns well, turns fast. I find it quite a physical bike. Dimensionally it's small compared to some. There's a lot of differences, but there are a lot of similarities too. It's such an exciting bike to ride. Flattering, some might say. So Yamaha have been working tirelessly to create a sports bike that is a litre, that it's got the same amount of power as the outgoing model, but it still complies with the regulations. So this is the first bike, certainly the first bike in Yamaha's lineup, and potentially the first bike out of any manufacturer that complies with those Euro 5 regulations, which come in at the beginning of 2020. Anyway, what it means is that they're taking the opportunity with this Euro 5 thing to make a motorbike that has got a bit more refinement. It's been able to be upgraded from the outgoing model. So this is the model we've seen come into the market 2015, it's upgraded in 2018, and this is the 2020 version. So the big headline is that with all the work they've had to do with the engine and the exhaust system to make it compliant, they've still been able to get that same amount of power that the last one had. That's 197 horsepower. There might be a little increase in torque. But the other bits that are different around this one are the styling. So the headlights have changed, the intake has changed, the aerodynamics have changed, so the airflow through the body across the fuel tank has increased efficiency by about 5%, so they say. New brake pads, new steering damper, there's new electronic settings as well. But yeah, so the main talking points really are around the head and the engine. Ride-by-wire throttle has changed. All of those little components all add up to a motorbike that really is, it might look very similar to the outgoing model, but there's a hell of a lot that's been changed for this one. And it rides beautifully. Look, the outgoing bike was hardly a bad one. It's a lovely, small, nimble little bike that is a tremendous to ride. It gives the rider a great amount of feedback on the road and on the track. And then over to the R1M, the big change here is it's full carbon, so you've got carbon at the back, you've got differences with the electronics, and then the main difference between the two models, but also the outgoing R1M and the new R1M, are these Öhlins forks. Now, these are the forks that you can see on the Panigale V4R, but the big difference here is, and this is a bit of an exclusive for Yamaha, is these are electronically controllable, so you can change with the menu system on the computer there on the dashboard. And really, so with these two bikes, it's those four catalysts that within the exhaust system that's kind of strangled all the power. But Yamaha have done such a brilliant job at making this motorbike still with the same amount of power as the outgoing bike, and I'm sure it will happen very soon. You take off the full system and replace it with something like a Krapovic system, it's going to make a ton of power, and it's going to be like the R6 was last year. So it comes to the market and everyone's going, hang on a minute, it's heavier, it's more expensive, and it doesn't make us enough power, but it has to comply with regulations, and that's what we're looking at here, and that's the big story. So yeah, so while we see the changes in the electronics and we see the changes in things like the brake pads and the exhaust, you know, Yamaha have got to be praised really because of what they've been able to achieve. Look, on circuit, two actually very different motorbikes. We were able to ride the R1M with Bridgestone slicks and the R11s on the R1. So the big difference between the slicks and the suspension, it's a totally different bike. The way in which it turns, the way in which it holds its line, the way in which it's stable in the corner is down primarily to, you know, suspension, chassis setup, and those tyres as well. It gives tremendous amount of feedback. It gives tremendous confidence too. So when you're in at Jerez here, there's plenty of fast corners, fast rights, fast lefts, changing of direction very quickly, some fast long straights, you're into heavy braking zones. So if a bike is bad, if it's badly set up, it has bad brakes, you can find it out here. I've got to speak fairly and honestly, the brakes on the R1 and the R1M are not the finest that I've ridden. There's a sort of pulsing on the ABS setting. Look, when you start comparing these superbikes of today, you start splitting hairs. So is it better than the V4S? Is it better than the S1000RR, Fireblades, the ZX10s? It's almost down to personal preference. All lap times, and it kind of depends on what you're after. Look, the R1 is 16,799. It's in shops in October. The R1M here is available through the ordering system online. It's 21,999. So yeah, so there's a big difference. But then you work out, you know, the price of these Öhlins, and it's almost justifiable. Two cracking little bikes. There's going to be many happy owners, as there have been with R1s over the years. It's still got that beautiful sound from that four-cylinder engine. It's an absolute cracker. Look, go and test ride one, that would be my advice. We'll have some more detail and we'll have a lot more reaction and information at bikesocial.co.uk.